figure out what conflict is. Surely I could find conflict explanation in the Wikipedia or on the internet, and I'm sure we all know different definitions of conflict. But if anybody wants, if you want to raise your hand and give me an example of conflict, most recent conflict in your life, or at work, anything. I know at least one person who is working on a daily basis resolving process conflicts. His name is Mike. Am I right, Mike?
Yeah.
Here you go. I know for sure all of us here have seen or witnessed or were involved in a conflict. Right? One of the conflicts is an example. Alice?
Another one? Did you want another one?
Please.
Well, a
They're all
conflict between
Tom.
personalities.
Absolutely.
Vitaliy and I don't always agree with one
Oh,
another.
I love her. That's the conflict. I love her. Here is another example of the conflict. The reason we have timer device here with a special bell on it is to resolve a conflict. Right? What kind? We will figure out during the presentation. All right? So one of the definition of the conflict, it is a serious disagreement or an argument. And if you look through the list of synonyms for the conflict, it could be dispute, clash, friction, contention. And it wasn't enough for me. I looked for more. Have you seen this picture before anywhere? Facebook friends? Okay, it's a recent Facebook application which is searching for meaning of your name. And the way it does it, it asks you for your gender, and then it breaks your name into two parts, and looking for some old words, old origins of the word. And I decided to find out what if conflict would be a name for a man or for a woman, what would that mean? Guess what? If that would be a man, word conf in Arabic origin means loyal, and part of the word licht would means gentleman. So it's a loyal gentleman. Whether, if it would be a woman, then in Hebrew, for some reason, Riva would relate, it means faithful protectress. Means something, but to me it already means a conflict right there. Loyal gentleman versus faithful protectress. Anyway, one of the project managers professional defined the conflict as two men within a single county. Usually when we appear, two men on a project, two people in a household, two people in a class, two speakers on a podium, we are in a conflict, and that conflict needs to be resolved. The question is how, and what kind of conflicts can we await for? Before I move there, I will give you one of the examples of my recent conflict. My wife keeps sending me to a grocery store on a weekly basis, on the same day, with almost the same grocery list, which I have to purchase. And she's giving me lots of instructions about what kind, what brand, in which store. It's a conflict.
No,
Right there.
you need it.
Could you relate? Could you relate? All right, we'll leave that one for a second, and I will give you one of the interesting examples of a conflict which I learned from an old story, an ancient story. One old man had 3 sons, and he was old enough, so he decided to get ready to pass away. He called up his sons, and he said, guys, I have whatever I have, all my herd, all my horses, and in the old times, horses were a significant asset. He said, that's my will. My oldest son will get half of the herd. Middle son will take 1/3 of it, and the youngest son will take 1/9 of the herd. After saying that, all gentlemen passed away. And here sons appeared in a conflict. 3 young men counting the horses, and they have 17 horses. It's a huge problem. How can we resolve this? We cannot take half of the 17. We cannot take 1/3 of the 17. We cannot take 1/9 of the 17. And young gentlemen, they went on a long, long journey to find out how to resolve this. Well, this is, you may think it's almost unresolvable. Who thinks it's almost unresolvable? Raise your hand, please. If you think it's unresolvable. If you think it has a resolution, raise your hand. Thank you so much. Thanks for at least believing that the resolution does exist. And that's what, one of the things I want to leave you with at the end of my presentation, that if you believe that the resolution could be found, it could be found. If you believe it does not exist, more likely you will not be able to see it. And that's the trick, how it works. That's how it works, exactly. So let's leave them for a while and let's go discover a little bit more conflicts. When I did my scrutiny on conflict, I was looking into conflicts in the literature. And literature suggests us, perhaps you remember your teachers, they were teaching us that conflict exists in man versus man, man versus society, man versus nature, and so on and so forth, right? And I looked at that. Yeah, absolutely. There are a variety of conflicts. But the question is that those conflicts might be solvable, might be not solvable. This list does not really provide me with the quality of conflicts, or rather with types of conflicts, which I wanted to find out. So I decided to look into other sources for conflict examples and conflict resolutions. And here is what I found. The statistics which I can relate to, and perhaps you can relate to as well. And this is crazy statistics. It was published last year in the Consulting Psychologist Press in 2014. They researched 5,000 workers in North America. And that's, this statistic was able to find that on average, North American worker spends 2.8 hours per week at work trying to resolve conflicts. Isn't it too much? And then unresolved conflicts in the office, causing 50% cases that the employee decides to leave their jobs. Very sad statistics. 49% of workers surveyed agreed that differences in personality triggered the most of the conflicts in the office. And 42% of employees left and felt that the employer could resolve their conflict, but the conflict is still there. So they left and the conflict even wasn't resolved after they left their job. This is kind of sad statistics. And I began thinking about who is responsible for all that. Any ideas? Here is what I found. We are responsible for the conflict. Believe it or not, absolutely. Yeah. Yeah, it's all mankind. Rather, responsible. Would you agree? Yes, we are responsible. And at work, whenever I face the conflict, I learned to take a position that what can I do to resolve that conflict, starting from me, first of all. And that helped significantly. And that's why teams I'm working with, they very often call me professional problem solver. At work we have those professional project management title, PMPs, and people don't like to call me project manager. I'm solving problems. And that's what I like to be referred at work as well. I'm solving problems, different kind. And the way I'm solving them, first I recognize the conflict. And that's what I want to present to you today. And for you to learn how to deal with the conflict, I suggest that we all take a quick exercise suggested by Dale Carnegie Institute to find out what kind of conflict personality you have. And that will help you to understand what kind of assets you already have to rely on within yourself related to conflict resolution, and what maybe you could learn about conflict resolution, and I will give you some direction after we complete this exercise. What I would like you to do, take a pen and a piece of paper, just empty one. All you need to do, you need to have 15 numbers, so put numbers 1 through 15. I will read the question, and you will answer the question. You will be answering the question by putting a number, either 1 or 2 or 3. You will put number 1 for the question in case the question is, the answer in your case would be seldom. Okay? Number 2 would relate to sometimes, and number 3, most of the time. I will give you an example. Question number 1. I can be swayed to someone else's point of view. If it's seldom, you put 1. If it's sometimes, you put 2. If it's most of the time, you put 3. Okay? We move to question number 2. And question number 2 says, I shut down people who I disagree with. There are no right or wrong answers. You just put whatever you feel like. That will help you to figure out your conflict resolution personality. All right? Number 3, I address the issue at hand diplomatically and do not attack the individual. I address the issues at hand diplomatically without attacking an individual. 1 is seldom, 2 is, 1 is seldom, 2 is sometime, and 3 is most of the time. Question number 4, I think that others try to bully their way with me. I think that others try to bully their way with me. Number 5, I express my thoughts and beliefs tactfully when they differ from those just expressed. I express my thoughts and beliefs tactfully when they differ from those just expressed. Number 6. Rather than offer my opinion when I disagree with someone, I keep it to myself. Rather than offer my opinion when speaking to someone, when I disagree to someone, I keep it to myself. Number 7, I listen to other people's point of view with an open mind. I listen to other people's point of view with an open mind. Number 8, I let my emotions get the best of me. I let my emotions get the best of me. Number 9, I raise my voice to make my point. I raise my voice to make my point. That was number 9. Number 10, I tend to belittle other people when making my point. I tend to belittle other people when making my point. And number 11, I look for ways to negotiate and compromise with others. Number 12, I have been told I am too pushy. I have been told I am too pushy. Number 13, I make sure I have my opinion heard in any controversy. I make sure I have my opinion heard in any controversy. Number 14, I think conflict in meetings is necessary. I think conflict in meetings is necessary. And the last question will be, I am the most vocal in meetings when trying to get my point across. 1, seldom, 2, sometimes, 3, most of the time. Did everybody have a chance to complete it? Do I need to repeat any questions to anybody? No? Fine. Let's move on then. What we need to do right now, please calculate the total score by summing up your scores from questions 1, 2, 4, 6, 8, 9, 10, 12, 13, 14, and 15. So sum it up for these questions. Number 1, number 2, number 4, number 6, 8, 9, 10, 12, 13, 14, 15, and then subtract answers from 3, 5, 7, and 11. And 11. 3, 5, 7, and 11. Take that out from your total answer. Do you need more time?
Yes.
1, 2, 4, 6, 8. And then subtract that. So 3, 5, 7. So you add up 1, 2, 4. And then you add up 3, 5, 7. Subtract.
All right. Ready? Let's move on. Here is what the test suggests. If your score was between 1 to 4, whose score was between 1 to 4? Could you raise your hand, please? Do we have anybody? Yeah. The study suggests that you have a passive personality. And what that means is that you may allow people to manipulate you pretty much. You don't want to face the conflict. You don't want to argue, which is fine, totally fine. However, what study suggests is that you will benefit from learning to stand up for your ideas and opinions in a diplomatic way and in a tactful way. I hope Toastmasters is a good environment to learn that. Would you agree, Sue? Thank you so much. 5 to 10. Wonderful, we have almost half of the room. And this is assertive personality type in relation to the conflict resolution, which means you professionally understand when the conflict is arising, and you can